Welcome to another edition of the Freeform Rock Podcast.
LV syndrome may have flowered most fully back in 1985 when the orchidaceous David Lee Roth was suddenly announced to no longer be fronting the hard rock behemoth Van Halen.
People ask me all the time about the last 3 months of Van Halen. First, Edward says, we fired him. We decided to throw him out of the band because we never wanted him in the band.
He treated everybody like a little lower than him, including us in the band. And, you know, that's not the way a band works.
And then 2 weeks later we read, well, no, Dave split to go be a movie star.
And Dave told us, I want to make a movie, I don't want to make a record. Then fine, you know, you're an adult. You can make up your own mind, go ahead and do it, but don't leave the band hanging.
And I'm here to tell you that it's a lot of BS. It's a lot of excuses that are being peddled because these guys couldn't get off their butt and make a record.
We just came off a major tour in 1984, and we were just itching to go and do the next record because Edward had written a lot of music.
I remember sitting there for a lot of days because Mr. Fingers couldn't get out of bed for 4 days in a row. And I remember sitting for a number of days in a row because Mr. Sticks was driving across country with his new wife. And I wanted to make a record.
When Dave quit the band, we were just sitting there going, now what?
The Van Halens replaced Roth with a classic screamer, Sammy Hagar, who fronted the band through 11 years of hits, but then hit the old LV wall himself in 1996.
I was called by Eddie on Father's Day morning. He just called up and says, hey, we gotta talk, and Eddie just goes, you know, you never do what I asked you to do, and I got so frustrated, I went and got Roth, and we've been working with him, and it's been working out great, and you've always been a solo artist anyway, you might as well just go back to being a solo artist. Quote, unquote.
That was a picture that he painted. That's absolutely untrue. That's absolutely untrue.
Bottom line, his work ethic sucked, okay? Now, if he wanted to be in this band and be a team player, he would be here right now.
I wanted to go in the studio in June. My whole plan, I had a baby in April, and I wanted to have 2 months with my baby, with my wife, first child for her. I wanted to really be used to it. And I said, we'll start in June.
He's in a different part of his life. He's considerably older than us, and I understand that. You know, if you're not interested in doing something, just say you're not interested.
Truthfully, I was kicked out of this band. I was forced out of this band, to be the politest way I could say it.
Welcome to another edition of the Freeform Rock Podcast. Today we have a special edition, probably no music played on here. Well, maybe we'll play some music, I don't know. But we have Nick Contor from the Mojo Dojo, a Sammy Hagar hating page on Facebook. And we have a regular co-host on here, Lee Gerstmann. Say hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's everybody going?
So, let's start off with the hate. Nick, why do you hate Sammy Hagar so much?
Well, you know, for me, it was kind of a process. Initially, I didn't hate Sammy Hagar. As a matter of fact, I bought 5150, saw him live, saw him again on the tour for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and so I was pretty much on board with Van Hagar. I didn't think it was near as good as Van Halen, but I wasn't a hater at that point. I think the point at which I really started to really not care for Sammy Hagar at all was when Dave came back into the band and it released a different kind of truth. Just something about the way Sammy reacted to that whole thing just really rubbed me wrong, and it just kind of spiraled from there.
So you have no problem with the way he sings or the way he plays or anything like that? Just the different kind of thing?
I do now, actually, a little bit, just because I have such a negative association with him. But no, initially, I mean, it's not that Sammy Hagar is bad necessarily. It's just that he's such a douche.
I agree. He's kind of a douche. I agree.
Okay, well,
with that.
then there you go. There you go.
Yeah, but I what do you think about him, Lee?
I'll have to go to the very beginning and say that when I first got the first Montrose album and I saw that the singer was known as Sam Hagar, I had heard of Sammy Hagar from 16 magazine, and my cousins had an album of his, but I didn't even put the two together. I thought that it was a totally different singer. I didn't realize, oh, this is Sammy Hagar from Sammy Hagar, you know? And I loved the Montrose stuff. I didn't like Paper Money as much, but I did like the first album a lot. And then when he did stuff with HSAS, like Hagar, Schoen, Harrison, Shreve, I also thought that was pretty good. I didn't listen to a lot of his solo stuff, but I was kind of into Three Lock Box. One of my old bandmates, Nicholas Kent, he thought Three Lock Box was one of his hottest albums. He liked Sammy Hagar. When they did the 5150 album, I was excited. I thought to myself, damn, if he can do what he did in Montrose, and he did what he did in HSAS, I can't wait to hear what he does in Van Halen. And it's like trying to order a hamburger and getting a turd. You know, it's like, what the hell? I mean, there were only about 2 songs on there that I would call good, but only in their own way. They're not even, well, I do like them still, but I didn't really care much for most of the album. And then they did do better on OU 812. There was some stuff that I thought sounded a little bit like old Montrose and old Van Halen to a certain extent. And then I didn't hear the whole album for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. I tried listening to Balance, and I could not even stomach listening to some of the whole songs all the way through. I just... That's probably one of the worst albums that I have ever heard. And so Sammy Hagar with Chickenfoot, I've tried listening to it, but Joe Satriani is a guy too who I think is kind of like, you know, not done as well as he used to. It's people like him because he's supposed to be a hard rock guitarist, but he's kind of changed from when he did Surfing with the Alien. I think that was when he was real hot. So when I listen to Chickenfoot, I can't even get into, like, it's like going in one ear and out the other. I don't know whether I like it or not. It's like a hamburger that is made out of plastic and you keep chewing it but you can't swallow. So as far as I'm concerned, Sammy Hagar is okay in little bits, but he's kind of like Velveeta cheese. It's like if you get a chance to get real good Wisconsin cheddar, you get that instead. But if you need cheese and the only thing you can find is Velveeta, at least you'll get your cheese fix. So I'm kind of in the sort of middle, not so much really appreciating a lot of what he's done now, but I liked some of what he did back then. But I will say that his album 9 on a 10 scale is pretty close to being complete shit. His first album, it's like he did that after he did Montrose. That would be like if Neil Young, after he did Rust Never Sleeps, he then decided to play piano and do Liberace songs. You know, it just totally... his version of Flamingos Fly, the Van Morrison tune, I mean, it's not one of Van Morrison's best songs, but it's hell of a lot better than Sammy's poop. And so, you know, it's I'm kind of in the middle, but I'm a little bit less for him than I am for him.
Well, yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, I guess I'm like the only one who really likes him. I will admit, Van Halen is Van Halen with David Lee Roth. That is the true Van Halen. And Different Kind of Truth was a fucking awesome record. But I do appreciate Sammy, and I just for me, I just separate Van Halen to Van Hagar. It's two different bands for me. I love the stuff Sammy did. I love OU812, even though you hate it, Lee.
No, the one I didn't like was Balance.
Oh, Balance. Oh, I love Balance.
No wonder you tried to pretend that I liked that one. Shame on you.
I like Balance. I think there's a couple cheesy songs on there, but Seven Seals freaking awesome to me. I love that song.
I like Balance when it's on cheese and chili. I like Balance with peanut butter and jelly. I don't like Balance with Eddie Van Halen and Sammy Hagar.
So, Nick, is there any like solo records you like of Sammy, or you just hate them all?
No, I mean before he got into Van Halen, I had Standing Hampton, I had Three Lock Box, I had VOA, and I listened to him, and I mean it was good stuff. It was decent. You know, to me, the thing about Sammy is not so much that he's bad; it's just that he's mediocre. He's a second lister. He's there. It's not real good. It's not real bad. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing that I ever found particularly impressive. And you know, one would think that if you're in a position where you're joining the biggest band in the world at the time, you'd think you'd want to step up your game a little bit. And Sammy really didn't. He dropped the ball.
Well, I kind of put the onus on Alex and Eddie, because they were going in that direction with, you hear songs like I'll Wait on 1984. They were going really keyboard driven.
Right, and I did too for the longest time. You know, for a whole long time, I put most of the fault actually on Eddie and Alex, because I felt like they wanted to take the band in that direction. I thought Sammy was totally on board with that, but I didn't blame Sammy so much. But you know, going back and listening to those records, and especially when you hear some of the stuff that Dave did with them on A Different Kind of Truth, you know, you hear what some of those really, really cheesy songs could have been like. You know, they could have been better songs with Dave's vocal melodies, with his lyrics, with his just the stylistic panache that he brought to Van Halen. It really meshes well with Eddie's music, no matter what he wanted to do. You know, I mean, even on a keyboard-driven song, you know, or a more of a mellow song, Blood and Fire is pretty much a Van Hagar sort of a track as far as the style of the music goes. But when Dave did his vocals, when he did those vocal melodies and the lyrics that he brought to that, it jumped it up several notches in my opinion. And I hear other songs from the Sammy days, and I think, you know, they all could have been great. They all could have been like that. But Sammy just messed them up.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed the Sammy years, but I do like the Dave years better. But I just, like I said, I separate them into two different bands, Van Hagar, Van Halen. But if you really go listen to David's solo, what he only had one really good solo album compared to all the crap he put out.
No, I totally disagree. The DLR album is easily on board with anything that Van Halen ever put out. And as far as I'm concerned, it's better than anything. You take that album, and that was an album that didn't really do well for Dave. You know, certainly not on the level of Skyscraper or Eat 'Em and Smile. But you listen to that album, and it easily blows away any compilation of the best Sammy Hagar track that you could put together.
Well, I do like DLR.
It just does.
I do. I like. I haven't heard all of Dave's solo albums. I do like Eat 'Em and Smile. I kind of have. It's sort of worn away its interest for me in some songs, and other songs I like better now. And Skyscraper is an album I'll listen to. It's not bad, but I also like It Ain't A Little Ain't Enough. I like that one.
Yep, that's a great record. Exactly.
And I'm going to hear Your Filthy Little Mouth. I only heard a little bit of it, but it seemed weird. But since I'm weird, I'll probably like it. And then the other two, I'll have to listen to before I give any judgment, because all I really know is I've looked at the covers, and so I can't judge. But yeah, but one thing I do want to say is throughout this episode, I'm not going to refer to Van Hagar, because to me, everyone does that for the Sammy years, but to me it's like putting a little too much importance on Sammy's role. It's like if you don't like what Sammy did, then don't even call. I mean, this isn't to you or anybody like here, but I'm just saying in general, if people don't even like what Sammy did in Van Halen, then when they say Van Hagar, they're like putting the word Hagar in their mouth when they could, not do that. They could just say Scab Van Halen or Van Halen Pap. That way you get rid of the Sammy name. Just like with Kiss, if people say Scab Kiss, that's okay because the word Kiss is in it. But if they said Scab Pudding or some or Scab or Skayer or Skather or Skinger or Scab Thayer or just call it Thayer's crap, well that's to me it just seems like I just don't like. To me, it just doesn't sound good to say Van Hagar. I don't like to say that. So I'll just say Van Halen when Sammy was in the group. That's just what I like to do.
Well, the reason we separate Van Halen from Van Hagar is because they are two different bands. David, I agree, had the panache, had the swagger that Sammy doesn't. But I do like Sammy's vocals, and I do like his lyrics. He has some cheesy lyrics, like Dave, Skyscraper, which everybody comes up to. Hot Dog and a Shake. That was a terrible song. And
yeah.
Also on Filthy Little Mouth, that was a terrible album. I remember buying that CD. Oh, a new David Lee Roth album. I went and bought it. And I go, crap, I turned it in for Scorpions Worldwide Live. I took it right back. I go, this CD skips. Can I get another one?
By the way, at the place where I got some CDs, I saw a copy of Worldwide Live. I probably could have gotten it for $1. Would it have been worth it?
Yes. It's a good.
Okay.
Great album.
Cool.
So Nick, you think that he has cheesier lyrics than David Lee Roth?
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
I don't even think it's a question. You take a look at the stuff that he did solo. That's one thing. But again, put yourself back in 1985. Dave has left the band. They're bringing you in as the lead singer for Van Halen. What are you going to do? Are you going to float through it? Are you going to just, scat out some stuff and here it is, 5 minutes worth of lyrics. Let's just throw that on the record. You're really going to want to step it up, wouldn't you think? But yet Sammy Hagar, in the very first single that they had with him, he lets a line go like, only time will tell if we stand the test of time. Really? You can work harder on that song than that? That's terrible.
But also,
and it's not even a matter of being a cheesy line. It's a bad line. It's just plain bad writing. He should have worked on those songs. And it really didn't seem like he worked very hard at all.
Well, I think Dreams is an amazing song, and I think...
It's not that every lyric was bad, but come on. You are the lead singer. Yeah.
Well, it reminds me. Well, just like one time, as a joke, I did a song where the lyrics were supposed to be like, I'll give you just one verse. This was back then. I love you very truly. I love you so much. Why don't we go out? Let us go for dinner instead of lunch. Like much and lunch, or some like roses are red, violets are blue. You like me, and I like Texas. You know what I mean?
You got to give that lyric to Sammy Hagar. I think he could use it.
Hey, I might just do that. I've been tweeting a lot of people. I might as well tweet Sammy.
Yeah,
you know.
There you go. Let him know he needs some good lines.
Cool. And I hope he won't give me credit.
Oh, I doubt it.
Well, I think he had some great lyrics on 5150. I like the thing where he says, I went out and brought some brand new shoes, now I walk like someone else. He's kind of referring to David Lee Roth, like he's the new guy in the band. And, you know, I thought that was cool lyrics. I like Dreams. I love the guitar solo on Dreams. I think that album was a freaking Love Walks In. There were some good ballads on that album that David would have never done. And even when they did ballads with Van Halen, he had freaking outside songwriters help him with All Weight was Michael McDonald.
Right. Well, but see there, that's an important point, because when he was struggling to write a lyric that fit the song, that what they wanted to do something that was more romantic and more of a love song and whatnot. He was struggling with it. He brought in an outside lyricist. Sammy Hagar, when he was writing lyrics that Eddie was rejecting as too cheesy, they asked him to bring in an outside songwriter. He refused. He wouldn't allow an outside songwriter because he wanted to be the focus. You know, to me, you can sum up Sammy Hagar in one word, and that's the word that I'm looking for is insecurity. He's an extremely insecure person, and he can't stand to have somebody else write the lyric. Dave was like, yeah, sure, if it's a good lyric, I'll sing it. Bring him in, no problem.
Wow, yeah. And I really do not like the song Dreams or Love Walks In. So
no, I don't particularly care for him either.
Yeah, I was telling Mark that because he said he liked those songs. So I'm gonna say if there were 10 songs on an album and I liked 5 and he liked 5, we could probably agree that we liked half of the album, but we wouldn't agree on which songs.
Probably not.
Probably not. I really like about half of 5150 as far as complete songs go. I think Inside is the only really bad song. I think the rest of 5150 could have been better if Sammy Hagar had stepped up his game a little bit, or if Dave had actually written the lyrics to him and done the vocal melodies. But, you know, to me, 5150 is just mediocre. And again, there's another good word for Sammy Hagar. He's mediocre. You know, he's not top-level singer. He just isn't.
Well, people get into the thing where Dave couldn't hit the notes that Sammy could hit, but at least Sammy tried to do David's songs in concert, which Dave won't even touch.
No, I disagree there again. Like I say, I saw him twice, and both times they only did 3 songs from the Dave years, and one of those was You Really Got Me, a cover song anyways, you know. I think he did, what was the other song?
Ain't Talking About Love?
He did Ain't Talking About Love when I saw him both times.
Panama?
And Running with the Devil, I think.
No, I never heard him do Running.
No, he did Panama.
Oh.
I think the 3 songs he did was Ain't Talking About Love, Panama, and the song by the Kinks, You Really Got Me.
I think you're right. I think it was Panama that he did. And, you know, there again, and I wasn't, you know, I was trying to like Van Halen with Sammy Hagar in it. But again, you know, you go to 2 concerts separated by however many years and 3 albums, and they do the same 3 songs. You know, if Sammy Hagar was such a great singer and he could do whatever he wanted, why wouldn't he do different songs? I think those were, you know, for the most part, there was a very limited selection of the Dave years that he actually could do.
Well, I actually think that if they had just put out OU 812 first before 5150, and then they just kept putting that out only with a different album title, people wouldn't know, but at least you would have more quality albums to buy.
See, and I never even got OU 812. I heard Finish What You Started, and
yeah, I like that one.
I was like, nah. And so, I mean, I can't really speak to that album because I never got it.
Yeah,
I did not like Finish What You Started. And at that point, and at that point, really, to be fair, I was getting into heavier stuff. I was more into thrash metal at that point.
Yeah.
It was just like, it's too light. They're going in a much lighter direction, and I'm just not interested anymore. So, I mean...
Yeah. I will say that they did have some heavier songs on that album, and some stuff that sounded more like Montrose. So for me, I thought it was a step up, but then after that step up, then they took a crashing step down.
Well, see, now I disagree there, because before College, when I heard Pound Cake come out, I was like, well, right on, okay, now they're getting back to something that's a little bit heavier. Now it's a lot more guitar-driven. There's not the emphasis on these little ballads, and let's put in some keyboard. Now, I thought For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge was actually kind of a return to form for Van Halen.
I might have to listen to it then, but like the little bit that I heard, I probably figured Pound Cake was the only heavy song. Whereas Finish What You Started by... Oh, okay.
You got Judgment Day on there. Damn.
Judgment Day, they did Run Around, Top of the World. Right Now is a good song, and actually I think Right Now is probably Sammy Hagar's only example of good lyrics. I mean, the rest of the time it's fair, it's okay, or it's just plain bad.
I kind of don't...
Right Now, I think he worked a little bit more on that one.
Yeah, I kind of don't like that song, and even Pound Cake isn't really one of my favorites, so...
Well, and there
you go. Yeah.
The reason I like that was the music. It wasn't the lyrics, because again, talk about a terrible lyric. Again, Sammy Hagar seems to have this fascination with equating women and food. He loves to eat them like pound cake, and they're good enough to eat. And
the music,
come on, really? That's junior high stuff.
Yeah, to me the music wasn't. Well, I'll have to listen to it again, but I really didn't even. I thought it was like second-rate heavy, but that's just me.
But then you go back to Van Halen with Daily Roth. Loss of Control, is that like a really great written song by Daily Roth?
A great freaking song. I love that song.
It's a great song, but the lyrics aren't that good.
Who listens to lyrics?
That's what I'm trying to tell you guys right now. Sammy may not write the best lyrics, but the fucking music's great, and the way he pulls it off is awesome.
But no, the music wasn't good. So it's like at least with Van Halen with David Lee Roth, at least you could listen to the music with some scabby fap. You can't even listen to that.
Well, now okay, and let's go to Loss of Control, because it really basically doesn't have any lyrics. I mean, it's just it's Loss of Control, Loss of Control, Loss of Control. But the point is, it's not so much that the lyrics are great and deep, it's that he sells it so much. And again, there's something that Dave has that Sammy Hagar will never have. No matter how much he works on it, he'll never have 1/10, maybe even 1/100th of the presence that Dave has. And that's what he brought to Van Halen. Yes, he wrote superior lyrics for the most part. He wrote better vocal melodies, in my opinion. Dave came in different places where Sammy Hagar, I think ruined a lot of songs by coming in the wrong places. But the point is, Dave had that attitude that launched Van Halen from being, a very well-respected band that only musicians have heard about, and he made them superstars.
Yeah. I agree with that. Dave was the panache of the band. He was the swagger. He was the mouthpiece of the band. He's the one who got them up there. I have no problem with Daily Roth. I have a problem when people get mad at me because I like both. And I'm like, what the fuck? Can I like both? They said, no, you can't. You have to like Dave or Sammy. I go, I want to like both, man. I like both.
Okay, but there again, Mark, that's something that Sammy Hagar has a lot to do with, because when Dave left Van Halen, he wanted to just do his own thing and let Van Halen do their thing. If they want, they can get Sammy Hagar in there. I'm going to do my thing. People can be fans of both. I've got no problem with that. Where did all the negativity come from? It all came from the Van Halen camp, and I think it was largely because of Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar said, no, you've got to choose. You've got to say who's better. Is it me or is it Dave? and he forced that on everybody, and it backfired on him because he's not as good as Dave.
Yeah, but they did the Sam and Dave tour, and Sammy kept trying to get David to come up on stage with him. He never would, man.
Well, why should he? Why should he share a stage? I mean, let Dave do his thing, let Sammy do his thing. Why do they have to do it together?
Yeah, but it looks he wanted to do it for the fans, for the Van Halen fans. Even Kid Rock says, "Get him up there, man. Get him up there, man."
I don't know.
David agreed to it and just locked himself in his dressing room. You know, why would David be afraid of Sammy? Why don't he go on stage with him and blow him off fucking stage? Because
he did every night. He did every night. He didn't have to go on there at the same time.
Yeah, Dave has the same shtick. I forgot the lyrics, man. I fucking forgot the lyrics. You know, that's all. I saw them in 2013. He was good, but you know, there's other people who saw them in their prime where he could jump over a frickin' drum riser. I would have loved to have seen that. Why don't they have any live concerts or live albums except for the Tokyo Dome, which his voice sounds like a squirrel, but I do love that album because it's them live and it hasn't changed.
Okay, but there again, who's to blame for not putting out a live album? I mean, I think it's the Van Halen brothers, and specifically it's Alex. You know, Alex never wanted to do a live album because he said Zeppelin never did a live album other than, you know, Song Remains the Same, which is not really a live album. but well, yeah, now they have them.
Yeah.
You know, now you can get them. But the point was, that was Alex's hang-up. Alex never wanted to do a live album. So, you know, if you want a live album, blame Alex.
I keep hearing about Oakland 83, and fucking why don't they release that shit?
I thought that was 81.
81. Oh yeah, 81. Why don't they release that?
Well, I saw them in 80, either 83 or 84 in Oakland. That's the one with David Lee Roth that I saw. So I want to see evidence of that. They never show that.
They don't.
Well, they're out there. You know, you can see bootlegs.
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen the 83 US Festival where he's drunk off their ass, but he still fucking looks like a fun show.
Yeah.
Well, and I think everybody pretty much admits that they kind of blew it on that one as far as a live show. You know, I mean, not every night was perfect, but the point of it is, you know, the experience of seeing.
I loved it.
Yeah, the experience of seeing, and again, I saw Van Halen with Sammy Hagar on the 5150 tour when they had something to prove, and I liked it. You know, I'm not going to say that I went away disappointed at the end of the concert, but when I saw David Lee Roth on the Eat 'em and Smile tour, I was blown away. He was easily tons better live than Van Halen was with Sammy Hagar. And I've never seen him live with Dave, so I can't speak to that.
Okay.
But, I mean, I saw both tours in juxtaposition with one another, and Dave mopped the floor with Van Halen, figuratively.
Oh yeah, I have a question. When I saw Van Halen back with David Lee Roth, they had moments when they just jammed and they didn't even really do songs that were on the album. They just did jams, and I'm wondering, did they do that with Sammy Hagar or not? Did they do jams?
They did.
They did. Oh, sure.
Yeah, they did.
Oh. And I'm wondering, just out of curiosity, did they do that in Dave's shows?
Oh, a ton, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They did a whole lot of that, of course. You know, I mean, you had Steve Vai in there. You had they even did a thing with Greg Bissonette where he came down on the stage and he had, I don't know what it was. It was a bunch of trash can lids or something. I really would like to get a bootleg DVD of that tour because I have the memory of seeing this where Greg Bissonette came down and he had a bunch of trash can lids or something that he's using for percussion. And Dave was telling this story about a little drummer boy that grew up, and it was really cool. It was a cool little thing, and Bissonette was punctuating it with his percussion, and it was a whole lot of fun. I mean, that to me, when I saw David Lee Roth, it's like, this is what a rock concert should be. They were having fun, and you could tell it. And with Van Halen, you know, again, I don't want to put down Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. It was good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah,
not the way David Lee Roth was.
To me, the only thing that I saw that was at all from the TV stuff that I saw. It looked like they did like some kind of limbo dance during Best of Both Worlds. I thought if that's the best, which is I'm thinking if that's the best they can do as far as showmanship, then I'm glad that I didn't have to pay money to see it.
Exactly.
I had Live Without a Net. I thought that show was awesome. I still have that on DVD. I
never saw that, but like I say, I did see him live twice, and it was okay. You know, that's again the best thing you can say about Sammy Hagar is he's okay. You know, he's mediocre.
But the thing is, Dave on solo, why hasn't he released a live concert or a live album solo? You know, there's no Van Halen brothers to prevent that.
Well, now there is, of course. I mean, you know, at the time, you know, you're right. Why after all those years didn't he release? So I wouldn't have to look around for a bootleg of some of the fantastic live shows that he did. You know, why doesn't he release some of that stuff? I mean, he had Billy Sheehan in the band, and I'm telling you, the interplay between those two was just awesome. And I would love to have a live DVD of that. Why didn't he? I don't know. Again, you know, that is on.
Well, unfortunately, I saw him on the Skyscraper concerts, and Billy Sheehan was already gone, and I was kind of pissed. But the show he put on was amazing. He had like a little boxing arena in the middle of the Forum, L.A., and he would sing up, get up there and sing and like box, and then he'd surf over the audience on a surfboard for California Girls. That was freaking amazing.
Yeah, he did the same thing on the Eat 'Em and Smile tour. He was, you know, they were whatever noodling around on stage, and then all of a sudden it's like Dave's voice comes out of the middle of nowhere. Hey, Steve, and Steve is wow. But and it was a great show. You know, like I say, I would love to get a DVD of that because I was there live. But you know, memory's fuzzy after all these years. I would love to see it, but yeah, I mean, to me, it comes down to the fact that Dave was a complete frontman. You know, it's not just that his lyrics were better. I think they were. In fact, I could cite chapter and verse. We could go song by song, and I could demonstrate how his lyrics are better. I thought his vocal melodies were much better and fit more with the music that Van Halen was doing. You know, but it's not just that. It's that Dave was a frontman. He was a complete lead singer, everything that a lead singer should be. He was the face of Van Halen, and when he left, you know, they
had a poodle face.
Right. Well, and in a way, I kind of am sympathetic with Hagar. You know, I'm being a little more kind to him than I probably should be as a hater here. But you know, I'm sympathetic because who could fill those shoes? You know, I don't think anybody could have.
Well, it's like he said, I went out and brought some brand new shoes, and I walk like someone else. But he was his own. I think Sammy
I think
did
those
the best
shoes pinched just a little bit because he never could come up to what Dave did. I mean, he started out on 5150 with that "Hello, baby," and
which to me was an. Oh, go on, and then I'll tell you something.
Well, I think I know what you're saying. It's about what I was going to say. To me, it's a blatant attempt to try to do a David Lee Roth sort of a thing. And in the middle of that song, you know, he does the "Hey, waitress," the little bit that he does. Again, that's an attempt to try to do Dave. And is it bad? No, but it's nothing near what Dave would have done.
I was going to say this. I was going to say I had a group, Black Spotted Thunder, and we were just, you know, kids like doing our music in my front porch, but we record stuff, and there was a song. It wasn't a song, but we did some called Joke Time, where you know, a couple of the members and me wrote some jokes, and then I did most of the joke telling, and then we edited it out and then put on different weird wild drums and screaming, and my bandmate Dale Stilson yelled "Baby!" And this was before they did 5150, so when we heard 5150, I thought Sammy's imitating Dale. You know, and I think I don't know whether I I don't know whether or not I told Dale that, but I think he heard it. And he kind of looked like, well, like he didn't want to say anything. Kind of like, oh, this guy's pants are down. I'm not gonna mention it. You know, kind of like that. You know, so I think he kind of might have felt like Sammy was imitating him, but you know, we had an ego, so I can say that, even though Sammy probably didn't hear our stuff. But I mean, to have Dale go, "Baby, I farted," and do it really loud, and then to just have Sammy go, "Hello, baby," without having anything else in it, and like we were the cutting edge. That's what I'm going to say.
I think he was actually doing the Big Bopper, but
now, yeah. But I mean, Dale wouldn't have even heard of the Big Bopper. Well, no, maybe he did. I can't say, but we were more imitating when we would talk to girls and hide behind the bush so that they wouldn't know who said some to them. Like, "Hey, you little stupid," or "Hey, slut," or you know, whatever we would say, and then we'd hide. Then they're like, "Who the hell said that?" You know. So we would just kind of, maybe it was our bizarre sense of humor, but we put it in our songs.
Well, the thing is about Van Halen with Sammy, and the thing is about Van Halen with David. David took control of Van Halen, and he was the face of the band. When Sammy came in, it was more of a band. It was more of like, "Hey, look at Eddie, look at Alex, look at Mikey." You know, with David, it's like, "Look at me, motherfuckers! I'm this band. Fuck the other guys." You know, that's how I felt with David in the band. And when Sammy came in, he put more of the onus on the rest of the band than himself.
Oh, okay. So, all right, yeah, that's cool. So then that meant that Dave pretty much wrote most of the songs. And so we have to blame Eddie and Alex and Sammy for freeing them up to write such shit. So yeah, Sammy was diplomatic, but yeah, David was the real songwriter then, and he had to tell those guys, "Fuck you," you know, don't give me shit. You know, I'm going to write good stuff.
Well, come on, like on the MTV Awards show, frickin' David in the back. This is about me, not about you, fucking your injury or what the fuck it is. You know, David made it about him when they were trying to bring him back in the band. He fucking pissed them off again. You know, and Me, Wise, Magic, and those 2 songs he did on those Greatest Hits albums were fucking amazing. I love them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, but
yeah.
Okay, but the thing of it is, because I think this is a good point. You know, you brought up the fact that Sammy Hagar put the focus on the rest of the band. And fair enough, you know, I think that's actually part of why he got the gig and part of why he was, you know, they loved him so much because, you know, you think about it. After being in a band with David Lee Roth for all those years, having to stand in those shadows, why wouldn't you love somebody coming in and telling you, "Hey, you know, you're amazing. We need to showcase you more. And this is not about me. This is about you." What he did was he came in and he stroked those guys' egos, and I don't blame him for loving that. I would have if I was in that situation where I would be overshadowed by David Lee Roth. What's going on here?
You okay, Lee?
Yeah, I'm just burping. Sorry.
All right. But you know, when Sammy Hagar came in, he massaged those guys' egos. He said, "Oh, these guys are so great. It doesn't need to be about me. It needs to be about you guys." And they loved it. And why wouldn't you? But the thing of it is, once they got over that and they decided, okay, here's this guy. He's willing to massage our ego and whatnot. Then they kept putting out albums. But Sammy Hagar's ego grew to be just like Dave's, and that's when they threw him out again.
Yeah, just like that song. "I'm talking about you, baby. You, baby. You're the one who put me in the middle, and that's why your songs are now screwed up. It's about you, Sammy Eddie. It's about you, Alex Michael, who's not in the band anymore. It's about poo. It's about boo.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing of it is, you know, when you take a look at what he was doing, I think Sammy is a manipulator at heart. I think he's a master manipulator, and again, I think it comes back to insecurity. He's got an insecurity, so he's going to try to surround himself with great players and try to build up their egos to try to make himself look better. And I mean, at the time, of course, you're going to fall for that. Eddie and Alex, I'm sure, loved it. Mikey still has not gotten over it. He still is just getting off on Sammy Hagar massaging his ego. But the point of it is, you know, it wasn't so much that David Lee Roth was trying to put the other guys down. He just had such a phenomenal presence and a vision, and it wasn't so much trying to put everyone else down. He was just doing his thing, and they couldn't keep up.
But on the MTV Awards, he said, "This isn't about you, Eddie. It's about me coming back." That's about David right there. He put himself in front of them again.
Well, in a way, but I mean, you know, it was because Eddie was talking about his hip surgery. Mm-hmm. And again, you know, for Dave, image is very important. And he didn't want to put forth an image of an ailing Van Halen where Eddie needed hip surgery and everybody's got these medical problems and whatnot. Don't talk about that. You know, we need to talk about the band. We need to talk about what's going on. We need to go forward. And, you know, we can't talk about, you know, physical ailments or things like that. And I think Eddie just took it the wrong way, to be honest. I mean, I think Dave was trying to pump up the image of the band, and, you know, we're gods. We don't have any frailties. We're immortal. And, you know, I mean, of course it's all BS, but it's all about the image.
Yeah,
and I think that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I have some that I read a little bit of the David Lee Roth book, and he talks about that. Before I tell you what I read in that, I'll say with David I have memories. With Sammy, it's all memories. but anyway, with David Lee Roth, David Lee Roth, he mentioned that during the night when they were going on and Eddie did the hip surgery talk, they were just going back and forth saying, "Don't you fucking talk about this, don't you fucking talk about that." They were just going at it. And so Eddie kept saying, "Don't you fucking do this, don't you fucking do that, don't you da 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 da." So David Lee Roth just said once, "Hey, don't fucking talk about your hip shit. You know, that ain't fucking cool. You better not." You know, and then so Dave, and then Eddie went, "Hey, don't you fucking tell me that shit, man. Don't you fucking tell me that shit, man, or else I'll fucking hurt you, or I'll fucking do." And then Dave went, okay, all right. And then later on, Eddie called him up again and said, "Don't you fucking do that again. Don't you fucking do that again." And Dave went, okay, all right. And it's like he said, he just said it once to Eddie, and then Eddie went on for hours to him.
Right, and it's a function of having, you know, so many decades of being at each other's throats. I mean, even back in the day, you know, you listen to a lot of those radio interviews, and it sounds like everybody's having a good time. They're all partying. They're all good friends. They weren't really good friends, and you know, to a large extent, all of that Van Halen stuff, even back in the day, was just an act. And Eddie just got tired of putting up an act. He wanted to be real, and I can't blame him for that. But at the same time, you know, if you're in a rock and roll band, it's really not cool to talk about the upcoming hip surgery that you need to have. You know, I'm not saying that you know, everybody ages, and of course these things happen. You know, nobody lives forever. Everybody has problems as we get older, but it's not a very rock and roll thing to talk about. And I think that's all Dave was really trying to do. But you know, because after so many years of not having to put up with Dave's, you know, over the top personality, I think Eddie just snapped right away. You know, and I don't necessarily blame him, but at the same time, I don't think Dave was in the wrong.
Oh yeah.
Well, I remember reading that why Sammy got kicked out of the band is because he just had a kid, he wanted to take a vacation, and Eddie got pissed and said, well, you've always been a solo artist, why don't you just fucking go be a solo artist again? So he got mad, and freaking how long did it take Van Halen to make a new fucking record? Van Halen 3, freaking Sammy had 3 out before they got 3, the one with Gary Cherone out.
Right. Well, and you know what?
I like Gary Cherone.
I did too. I like Van Halen 3 too.
Well, and to be fair to Gary Cherone, that album was just plain bad. I mean, even the music was really not that great on that album. And so, I mean, any singer would have had a hard time in that situation. I don't blame Gary Cherone a bit for that.
He said they worked that out on the concerts. He said they worked those songs out and they should have waited to release them.
Well, and by all accounts, the live shows with Gary Cherone were amazing because he said, hey, I want to do it all. I want to do Sammy material. I want to do all the back catalog with Dave. Whereas Sammy would never do a lot of those old Dave songs. You know, Gary Cherone was like, hey, I'm on board. I love all those songs. We'll do all these things. We'll do any song you want. And by all accounts, he was amazing doing the Dave era stuff. So I really wish I'd seen him during that time.
Yeah, they were supposed to release a Live in Chicago from Van Halen.
I would have loved that.
Concert. It's on YouTube. You could go find it.
Sure. But I mean, the thing with Sammy Hagar, you know, again, the issue was the stuff they were doing for the Twister soundtrack, Humans Being, and they had another song that was
Human Beings was amazing.
I forget what it was called, but it was like a ballad, and it was supposed to be really great, and the songs really weren't done; they weren't finished, and Eddie wasn't really happy with them, and he wanted Sammy Hagar to do it over again. And again, this is where they brought in different lyricists because Sammy Hagar's lyrics were, in Eddie Van Halen's words, cheesy. He says, you know, he rewrote a lot of the songs for Humans Being, which originally had a different, I think it was called Something to the Extreme, which is kind of ironic considering that Gary Cherone ended up being the lead singer. But Eddie Van Halen wrote a lot of the lyrics to Humans Being because Hagar's lyrics were so bad. And, you know, he was just phoning it in at that point. And he went into the studio and he tossed off a couple of tracks. And Eddie said, you know, this is not good. This is not right. We need to have you redo it. And he just refused to go back and redo it again. You know, I think that Sammy was getting a little too big for his britches and thinking that he was the star of the show. And, you know, I think Eddie, you know, had already gone through that with Dave, and he called Sam on it, and he said, well, you know, there you go. If you want to be a solo artist, there's the door. And,
yeah, but they came back in 2004, and freaking Eddie blew it then. Because freaking Sammy started coming in. He said it was like pulling freaking hairs out of his head trying to record a song with him.
Sure. No, and that's absolutely true. You know, Eddie was in a bad place at that point, and yeah, on that tour, it was definitely Eddie's fault. I think he'd say that himself, that he was the one who was having such a problem with alcohol, and you know, live just was not up to par. You know, there's YouTube videos all over the place where you can see Eddie Van Halen really not doing that well because he was so trashed at the time. But even then, you know, I mean, take a look at the songs that they did when Sammy came back to do those Best of Both Worlds songs. I mean, come on, you know.
I liked Up for Breakfast. I liked it.
I think that it would have been better if they had the lead singer from Aha work with them, and they called themselves Van Ha-Ha.
I like the Aha, man. Don't get on Aha.
I'm not saying Aha is bad, but it's not Van Halen. Come on.
No, it's not Van Halen.
You know,
Van Halen.
They would have been Van Ha. They would have been Van Ha-Ha. That's what I'm saying. It would have been better than Van Hagar.
But Up for Breakfast again showcases Sammy's juvenile preoccupation with food. Come on.
Well, I mean,
you have to compare women to food all the time, Sammy.
I would have liked Richard Simmons to just go up and not even sing, but just dance. That would have been cool.
Well, Everybody Wants Some is not the best lyrics, but it fucking kicks ass. You know.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. No, and
I think Sammy gets a bad rap. If Sammy never joined Van Halen, I think he would have been fine as a solo artist, and I think he wouldn't have got as much shit. That's just my opinion. Because he replaced an irreplaceable singer in Van Halen that was the face of the band. Any singer that would have came in, if Sammy didn't, would have got shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but I think another singer would have tried a little bit harder. Sammy would, his lyrics reflect a laziness that to me is just unacceptable. I mean, I write lyrics myself, and I'm not the best lyricist in the world, but if I'm coming into the biggest band in the world, I'm going to try a little bit harder. And to me, Sammy just was not trying.
In truth, I would have think that if Jim Little, the guy from Rogue Mail, was their singer, he kind of looked like Frankenstein's monster. At least he would have had some stage presence. He might have made people nervous looking at him, but he wouldn't have been boring. They had Crazy Motorcycle and I'll Get You Back and songs like that. He had that kind of growling voice. I think that would have been really powerful, but I don't know whether or not they would have, had him. But yes, someone like him,
they wouldn't have brought him on because they wanted to be Journey. They wanted to be, they wanted to do the ballads.
They wanted the hits.
They wanted the hits, and they chased him, and they got him. But at the expense of the music. I mean, it's really watered down. Watered down.
I agree with you guys on that, but I did enjoy the band. I did enjoy the songs. I love Rick and Unlawful Carnage. I love You 5150, and I even like Balance, except for the song Amsterdam on that album. That song is so fucking cheesy, it sucks.
Right, and Eddie has even made mention of the horrible lyrics that he had on that one. But the thing of it is, I would agree with you, Mark, except for the fact that when Van Halen came back with Dave again, when they did the absolutely amazing, awesome, different kind of Truth album, which totally blows away anything that they did with Sammy Hagar. Totally blows everything away. Look at the way Sammy reacted to that. He had to come out and instead of talking about Chickenfoot, which was okay, but it wasn't that great.
I love
Chickenfoot. Couldn't talk about. Yeah, it's okay.
I saw them in concert. They were really good in concert. Seriously,
but he couldn't talk about them without at the same time talking about Van Halen. He even tried to put up Chickenfoot against Van Halen. He said, "Who is a better guitar player right now, Joe Satriani or Eddie Van Halen? Who is a better drummer, Chad Smith or Alex Van Halen?" He intentionally tried to put his band up against Van Halen and say, "Hey, you've got to like us better." Again, here's Sammy Hagar forcing you to make a choice, and I mean it's a pretty obvious choice in that case.
Oh yeah,
Chickenfoot is okay, but they're not even close to anything that Van Halen did on a different kind of Truth. It's not even close. But he's the one who forced the comparison. He's the one who couldn't stop talking about Van Halen. Van Halen never talked about Sammy Hagar.
I think he was pissed off the way he got kicked out of the group.
Well, sure he was. He acted like a jilted girlfriend. Yeah. He was jealous, and he just couldn't give it up. He couldn't stand to see them back with David Lee Roth. And again, it's out of a deep insecurity that Sammy has. He doesn't think, at the end of the day, that he's good enough. And you know what? I agree with him. He's right. He's not.
Yeah. I think they should do what he wants to do is take them both on concerts and have David come out sing 3 songs, Sammy come out sing 3 songs, and freaking just give the fans what they want. Give both of them.
Well, they did that. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the bootleg videos of the Sam and Dave tour. I've seen those, and you take a look at that. Take a look at the way each one, and I assume each one presented it in the way that they wanted to present it. It looks like something that was intended for release, and they probably just couldn't come to terms in terms of releasing commercially. But take a look at the performances. With Dave, it's all about the live performance. With Sammy Hagar, he puts the emphasis on the audience a whole lot. He's showing girls, he's showing all these other things. There's a lot of camera tricks and whatnot. And with Dave, there's not a whole lot of that. He puts the emphasis on the performance.
Yeah, I would say the only person who would have been scarier to have as Van Halen vocalist who I think would have caused even more hatred would be Steve Perry. If he was this vocalist, I would probably run in my room screaming.
They wanted Patti Smythe from Scandal. Come on, I think that would have been worse.
Well, yeah, that was because, of course, this is a rumor, but that was because, she and Eddie were sleeping together at the time. But I think she would have done a decent job. But the point is,
what is she doing now?
Well, no, right, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Well, what is Sammy Hagar doing now?
He's got the circle. He's got chicken foot. He's doing really good.
Oh, they're doing great at all the rib fests all over town.
Oh, he's playing right down. He's playing right down the hill from me in Devore, frickin' arena. It's not a rib fest.
I know, and they probably sold about 250, 300 tickets. So good for him. But it's nothing like what Van Halen did on the last tour with Dave. They played big arenas. They sold hundreds of tickets, thousands of tickets, a lot more than Sammy Hagar's going to do.
I saw them in 2013, and all David could do is just dance on his little wood floor. At least Sammy can move more than David can now. Sammy's all over the stage playing his guitar, jamming, talking to the fans. David was kind of boring.
Did he have to go to the bathroom?
Well, they're all getting up in age. I mean, come on. I saw Judas Priest on the last tour they did, and you could definitely tell who the 40-year-old in that band was. The rest of the band would have to go backstage and get oxygen between songs. But they were still out there doing what they could, and so at a certain point, everybody gets older. Everybody falls behind in their performance. You just physically can't do in your 60s what you could do in your 20s. That's just reality.
Yeah. Sammy's almost 70, and he's still jamming on that stage and running around, and his vocals are freaking right on tune.
Yeah, not really. I've seen a lot of live videos with Sammy Hagar where he's not doing very well, and he's not into it. But again, to be fair to him, exactly. What are you going to do when you get up in your 60s, close to 70 now? But the point of it is, people go to see Van Halen with Dave because they know they're going to get a show. Can Dave do the splits anymore? Of course he can. Why should he? But he still puts on a heck of a great show. A lot better than anything Sammy Hagar did in his prime.
Oh, Mark.
My opinion.
Oh, Mark. Would you agree with this statement? Neil Diamond's Beautiful Noise is one of the best heavy rock opera albums of all time.
I haven't heard it. But I do like Neil Diamond.
Okay. I was trying to trap you into it, and it halfway worked. Yeah. No.
I'm just saying, I love David. I love Sammy. I just wish people would stop just freaking arguing over it and just let people like what they want to like. But you go on freaking Facebook, everybody wants to freaking choke each other over this subject.
and Sam is the one who's forced that. Sam is the one who keeps making the comparison. I mean, how many times do you see a Sammy Hagar interview where he doesn't mention Van Halen? Can you find one?
No, you're right on that. Sammy keeps bringing it up.
He's the one who keeps bringing it up. He's the one who keeps bringing up the comparison. And I'm sorry, he would do a lot better to just shut up about it because there is no comparison.
Yeah, it's two different bands to me. I don't consider them Van Halen with Sammy. I consider them Van Halen with David Lee Roth. I've always agreed with that, but I do enjoy the Sammy era, and I freaking listen to just as much Sammy as just as much Dave, But I listen to more solo Sammy than I do solo Dave, because solo Dave just irks me after Skyscraper, except for what's that? You said A Little Ain't Enough. I like that album.
It's the DLR album.
Yeah, I like that album too, because you got John 5 on there, man, and the drummer's freaking awesome. No, David needs to surround himself with good musicians. When he doesn't, a la Filthy Little Mouth or frickin' Diamond Dave album, it sucks.
I disagree. I think David Lee Roth is his own person. I mean, when Dave left Van Halen, every single person in the Van Halen entourage, their entire organization, left with him, with the exception of one drum tech. Now they didn't do that because Dave was some lame person having to surround himself with great musicians. They did that because they believed in Dave. And as far as I'm concerned, he more than proved himself on the solo albums that he did following Van Halen. I'll put Skyscraper or Eat 'Em and Smile up against, again, any of the Sammy Hagar albums. You do a compilation of all 4 albums, and it wouldn't come up to one solo David Lee Roth album.
Skyscraper, I like that album, but there's too much keyboards on that album. Way too much than Van Halen ever put on there.
Right, there is. No, I'll agree with that. But again, that was the time, and I think to a certain extent he was trying to chase that the same way Van Halen was. But the quality of the songs is just so much better because Dave brought so much more to the table than Sammy did. I can remember, what was it, back in 2015, I think it was, that somebody started putting up instrumental versions of Van Halen songs. They did 4 that I'm aware of before Warner Brothers issued a cease and desist, and they didn't do any more. But one of the songs that they put out as an instrumental version was Big Fat Money, which of course was on Balance. And to be honest, I hadn't heard Balance in years. I really don't care for that album at all. But when I heard Big Fat Money, I was blown away. As an instrumental, it stacks up against anything from the David Lee Roth era. I mean, musically, it is a freaking great song. It's amazing. And I thought, man, how did I miss this on Balance? How come I don't remember this song? And I had to get my CD and rip it to the hard drive. I hadn't heard it in years. But when I heard it with vocals, I realized why I didn't remember it. It's because Sammy Hagar messed up that song. That song could have been so classic. It could have been just as good a song as anything on the 6-pack. But Sammy Hagar watered it down with his mediocre lyrics and his mediocre vocal melodies.
They do have someone on YouTube has put some of the Van Halen songs of Sammy Hagar, but without the vocals, and they take and so
that was one of them.
Oh yeah, and I like listening to that.
Yeah, the music itself is great. It's Sammy Hagar coming in with his cheesy lyrics and his lame vocal melodies. He ruins a lot of great music.
Yeah, I feel that if he wanted to do an honest concert, just showing what he can do, he would just come up on stage by himself and first say, "Hey everybody, how you doing?" And then spend a half hour just waving and having everyone cheer, and then you go, "Oh yeah," and then points to the audience and they go, "Oh yeah," and then he does that for an hour. And then eventually he just slaps his knee and bows and laughs and everyone goes, "Yeah!" And then he throws beer with some acid mixed in it so that they get all tripped out and they don't realize that they aren't really listening to songs. And then he just continues doing the concert. And then they go home and think, "Wow, man, I don't fucking remember anything, but it must have been a good concert because I'm all fucked up."
Sounds about right to me.
Well, I love Chickenfoot. I love the Circle Live album. I think he sounds amazing. I do like the David Lee Roth at Tokyo Dome. There's a kind of like ear-cringing moments on there, but back when I heard him do some old Van Halen songs on there, I was like, damn, this is like freaking awesome.
You don't get out much, right?
Me?
Yeah. Well, no. You do work in a place where there's a lot of imagination and cartoons, so you have your you have a good vivid imagination. That's what I like about you. Your except your strangeness is in your musical taste. My strangeness is in everything else, but yours is in musical taste. But I dig you.
All right, man. Thanks. Hey guys, I want you guys to pick one song from the David Lee Roth era, because I know you guys like him better, and then I'll play those out.
Okay, he can go first because I have to. No, yeah, he goes first, and then I'll pick one.
Let me go with "Could This Be Magic?"
Okay, that's a good one.
Okay,
it's a great.
All right. I'll pick DOA.
Yeah,
there you go.
Those are good songs, and I'll pick one Sammy song, and I'll try to pick a good one. I think. Let me think. I'll just pick Judgment Day.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. If it were me, I would have picked Hubble Wabble, but that's me.
I like that song too, man. I think it's like his credo.
You know, actually, of all the Sammy era songs, I think "Summer Nights" is probably the best.
Yeah, "Summer Nights" is a great track.
That's a great song, and I even wonder how much of 5150, because I know they wrote a lot of the music with Dave still in the band, and I think he even did some scratch vocals on some of those things. I wonder how much of Dave there is in 5150. I think there's more than a little bit, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why I like 5150 more than most of the other albums.
Oh, okay.
All right, man. I'm gonna play "Summer Nights" because we both like that song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be listening to music that's absolutely totally different than anything we talked about, just to get rid of the Sammy taste.
Oh wow! All right. Well, I'm gonna go out saying I love Sammy. I love Dave, man. Thank you guys for being on the show, and I hope you guys have a great day, man.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Lee. Have a great day, man.
You too.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Out upon the islands on a cool summer night, buddy, you don't got to hurry, take your time. What you need is on the menu and you get it tonight, buddy, you got women's on your mind. Could this be magic, or could this be love? Could this turn tragic? You know that magic often does. And I see lonely ships upon the water. Better save the women and children first. Sail away with someone's daughter. Better save the women and children first. I hear music on the landing and there's laughter in the air. Just could be your boat is coming in. Yeah, you're leaning back and your foot tapping and got your head right. There's a full moon out tonight, baby, let's begin. And she said, could this be magic? Or could this be love? Uh-oh. And I said, could this turn tragic? You know that magic often does. I see lonely ships upon the water. Better save women and children first. Sail away with someone's daughter. Better save women and children first. Edwin, thank you. She says, could this be magic, or could this be love? And I say, could this turn tragic? You know that magic often does. And I see lonely ships upon the water. Better save the women and children first. Sail away with someone's daughter. Better save the women and children first. Yes, sir. just hang around every local parking lots. Oh, checking out all the girls, see what they got. Wow, 'cause they love it when me and the boys wanna play some live with them human toys. Wow, we wind them up, let them go. Wow, oh yeah, well yeah. Woo, summer nights in my radio. Well, that's all we need, baby. Don't you know? We celebrate when the gangs are here. On a hot summer night, that's my time of the year. Oh, we made it through the cold, and that freezing snow is getting old. Hey, next year I'll head out for the coast. What do you say, fellas? That might just call for a toast. Now what do you say? I'm gonna line. You grab that pole. I'll meet you down at the old fishing hole. Wow, them girls are fighting good tonight. Oh. Well, yeah. Summer nights in my radio. Well, that's all we need, baby. Don't you know? We celebrate when the gangs are here. Hot summer night, you're my time of the You wanna talk about love? In the heat of the summer. Well, let's talk about love. Hot summer night. Hey. In the heat of the summer. Well, let's talk about love. Hot summer night. We was broken hungry on a summer day. They sent the sheriff down to try and drive us away. We was sitting ducks for the policeman. They found a dirty-faced kid in a garbage can. Ooh, man. They found a dirty-faced kid in a garbage can. Yeah. Leave him alone, yeah. I'm on my way. Oh, yeah. Dead or alive. Dead or alive. I'm a spark on the horizon.
Shed a tear and said, just like any band, we're having a career difference here. We're having a musical difference. And we're going to go our own ways. And we cried and we hugged and he split. And 2 weeks later, I'm reading in Rolling Stone what an asshole I am. And how poor little Eddie was forced to spend the last 12 years of his life living a lie. It's like a f***ing National Enquirer or something. And here comes his wife, to back it up, and on and on and on. So I stayed quiet for 6 months, 7 months. And I'm just reading diatribe after harangue, after this, after that, again and again and again. And I still believe it's not necessary to make a comparison. I don't think you have to make a choice, but Van Halen demands it. Van Halen is demanding, for some bizarre, retarded reason, for the audience to make a choice. You have to either love us and hate him or vice versa. They demand it. Well, I'll rise to the challenge. If we have to have a comparison, then fine. I eat you for breakfast, pal. I eat you and smile.
Give me a bottle of anything and a glazed donut. To go.
I don't talk about Van Halen, not once, on my stage during my show, and I haven't on this tour. I think we're on our 50th gig. I only started talking about Van Halen in the last several months after 6-7 months of silence, and they have taken it upon themselves to attack me every single opportunity they have. I don't know if they played here yet. They played here? Then I'll bet you $5 they made a big production of cheap, low shots. Make a scapegoat. That's German mentality. Just go. They got nothing better to talk about. We're beginning to see this now. Regardless of the music, regardless of their stage production, they got nothing better to talk about. I do. I got a beautiful band, man, and I got a real great future. And I got to thank you for helping me out with that, and it ain't no good without an audience.
I want to know, for instance, like how Mike really feels, because we don't talk about this. This is really true. Like, so you think we get on the road, we probably discuss all these things.
You're too sloshed.
We're having a blast. We're goofing off. We're goofing off and stuff and doing things. But I'm serious. I mean, how did you feel when, after all those years in Van Halen, when you got replaced by Wolfie? I mean, how did you really feel? Not what do you think about it? Not your opinion of it happening, but how did you feel about it?
Exactly. Talk about your feelings. Well, I mean, the last time I was on the show, it's like you guys asked me, how I found, what happened, and I found out like everybody else did. Obviously, they did their press conference, and I'm like, oh wow, and it wasn't like I wasn't in Van Halen because I'm playing with Sammy. I was playing with Sammy because I wasn't in Van Halen. But I'll tell you, the one thing, I mean, it's cool, Eddie's kid and everything, and, you're thinking, well, you got a, 18-year-old kid replacing you or whatever, but, I mean, it's Eddie's kid, so, I mean, it's cool. The guy wants him to play, it's his father-son thing, but the thing that actually really kind of got to me a bit was right after they announced it, they, on their website, they came out with a brand new look on their website, and on a couple of the albums, early Roth albums that I was on, they actually took my image off the album.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh. And I think it lasted for maybe a day because the fans, everybody out there,
I remember that.
It was like,
Oh, they're animals, these people, man.
Yeah, I know. was like, they were trying to erase some of the history, to make way for the new thing, and that actually kind of hurt a bit.
That hurts.
But other than that, I mean, it's like a marriage or anything else. People move on, things happen.
Now,
and,
Sammy,
we're
right. If he ever went back to Eddie, would you wipe his images off the Chickenfoot albums?
No, I love the guy, but
let me ask you: wouldn't go back. You wouldn't go back now, right?
at this point in my life, no. There's really no reason to. Everybody, I mean, we're having a great time doing what we do.
Have you heard Van Halen play, whether on YouTube or whatever? You're on everything but, the new album. What's your assessment of him as a young kid in that role, playing your parts?
He's great, actually. I've seen him grow since their 2007 tour or whatever, and he's kind of like really kind of coming into his own as a musician, as a bass player. And, he plays my stuff, but he puts his spin on it, which which I'd want to do too if I was in that position. I'm not going to, I don't want to just play the exact same thing that I played. I wouldn't play the exact same thing I played now that I played then if I played it again now, Right. It was kind of interesting, though, listening to bits and pieces of the album that I did to actually hear a lot of songs that were written way back when I was in the band.
There's old songs on it
that
they redid, right?
Yeah.
Go after him for a little publishing money coming, Michael Anthony.
You know what?
Publishing? Come on.
I'm not one of those kind of guys, it's like, they do their thing. I'm so happy doing what I'm doing now, it's like, I just let it go.
Listen, I'll say it. There's a lot of guys that come out on this set, and, sometimes you go to shows and you see one thing on stage, and backstage they're different people or whatever. What you see is what you get when you're talking to Sammy and Michael. Great guys. Lay it out there, man. It's amazing. The best.
Hey, DJ Big Bushy here, and if you like the beer cold, the women hot, and the music loud, then get your ass to the biggest party on thatmetalstation.com, the Big Bushy Power Hour, every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Big Bushy Power Hour, it's the biggest party with the biggest beer.
Hey everybody, this is Lee Gerstmann, and if you want to hear me more than just me blabbing, you can hear me on my podcast. I am on Spreaker, and my podcast is Lee Gerstmann's Show. So all you have to do is look on Google for Lee Gerstmann's Show, and you will see me. And I will have plenty of interesting things for you to hear, if that's your bag. But if not, listen anyway. Ha 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 ha! Take care, everyone.
Here's some podcasts I like to listen to. Cheap Talk with Trick Chat, the Decibel Geek Podcast with Chris Sinzak and Aaron Camaro, Metal Raps with Mark Striegel, the Eddie Trunk Podcast, Rock Talk with Mitch LaFon, the Cassius Morris Show, and the Pods and Sods Network. You guys have a great day and keep rocking. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Freeform Rock Podcast. Check out my Amazon link and tell a friend. Thank you.